watching PowerNation.
Today, we're starting a whole new project, so if you like dualies, diesels, and old Dodges, you're gonna wanna stick around.
That's right, we're plucking the Cummins out of this old workhorse and shifting it into a full-blown powerhouse. We don't want to give too much away, you're just gonna have to wait and see what happens here on Music City Trucks.
Nothing cooler than an old pickup, am I right?
Underneath all this dirt, there's probably a pretty good truck.
Hey guys, welcome to Music City Trucks. It's a beautiful day here in Tennessee, and we're on the hunt for our next project. You know, it's been a while since we've done a diesel truck build, but we're looking to change that today.
Yeah, and what we've got here on this little farm hiding in that barn up there isn't necessarily a barn find, but we did find it in a barn, and I think you're gonna like it. Let's see what we got.
I don't know about you, but I love these old first-gen Cummins.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can't beat them as an engine in a work truck. It's about as good as they ever got. I mean, it doesn't matter where your allegiance lies when it comes to trucks. It's definitely a great truck to have around. I mean, the first-gen Cummins is undoubtedly one of the greatest engines of all time.
Yeah, first ballot Hall of Famer, if you will. And it's a 93, right?
Yep, last year of this body style. I got a feeling underneath all this dirt, there's probably a pretty good truck.
Did he say why he wanted to sell it?
I mean, the guy said it does run pretty good. I mean, you know, he said he bought a new truck, and this one spends most of his time sitting, save for the occasional day of work and driving to church on Sundays. I mean, he said he's just ready to see it move on. Let's take a look under the hood. Whew.
There she is, my friend.
Look at that.
Crown jewel.
You know, I mean, you can definitely tell this thing's been around here for a while, but based on the outside, I was expecting much worse under here.
What I like about these is like just the bolt-on mechanical horsepower. So easy to work on, they're so simple. I just love these things.
You can't beat them. I mean, you drop it in pretty much anything, and I think this is a great base for what I'm thinking.
Yeah, my grandpa always said that you could start an old Cummins with a screwdriver and a ball-peen hammer, and he wasn't wrong. Arguably, these Cummins are like to diesel dudes what LSs are to hot rod guys.
What's about we see if we can get this thing started?
Did he give you the key?
No, but if I know farmers, it's
Got it.
right there. Moment of truth. Oh, man.
Love that sound. I love that sound.
I mean, just like that. All right. Oh, man. Well, let's get this thing out in the sunshine. Yeah, bring it on. Look at that.
Needs a bath. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this thing is straight piped.
Well, it sure sounds like it, but I mean, now that it's out in the daylight, man,
Not a bad looking truck, is it?
I don't think this guy knows what he's selling.
There's a lot of aftermarket support on these things. We can go pretty much any direction we want.
Yeah, up, down, fast. We got a lot of decisions to make here. Based on how it sounds, it definitely been taken care of.
Let's get her back to the shop.
Yeah. Looks like you about lived in this thing.
Is that a cricket? Don't need it. Well, we got our old dually back in the shop. It's time for a day at the spa. And if you ask me, it's well overdue. What is it with these ranchers? They just throw everything in the bed of the truck.
Hope you got your tetanus shot.
You know, one of my first jobs out of high school was detailing used cars at one of those cheapo car dealerships, you know?
Oh, man.
Like Big Jim's Auto Sales or whatever, you know? You wouldn't believe some of the nastiest stuff. But I think the worst was I was doing a van. I was digging behind, you know those pockets that are kind of behind the front and passenger side seats? Inside one of them was a used diaper. It's like soiled. And it had been there a while.
Sounds like that was a pretty crappy day at the office.
Eric was right. After hitting it with the pressure washer, underneath all this grit and grime was a true dually diamond in the rough.
There's no signs of any corrosion, and the paint still has a little bit of shine to it. And that definitely makes it easier to pull off what we have planned for this Cummins-powered Colossus.
Give the people what they want.
That's all you need.
Yep, a little bit of magic, you know? Up next, we shift our thinking and develop a dream for this dually build.
We've christened this new diesel-powered dually dynamo as Project Night Shift. Well guys, here it is, our latest project, a 1993 Dodge Ram W350 first-gen Cummins, one of the most popular and sought-after truck models on the market today. When you step back and consider anything and everything a truck guy loves when it comes to benefits and features, this thing has got it all. For starters, this truck has what I call the intimidation factor. Its aggressive stance and wide-load exterior grabs your attention and makes a statement when you see it coming. This dually's also rocking 2 heavy-duty Dana 60 axles that can haul anything from hay bales to dumbbells. And with this truck having 4-wheel drive, you'll conquer rough terrain with ease. Underneath the hood, you have pure, turbocharged Cummins power, with plenty of room for future growth potential.
That's right, and Dodge might not have made a very big impact when they entered the diesel market, but they showed up in a big way in 1989 when they redesigned the engine bays of their 3/4 and 1-ton trucks to accept the 6BT Cummins engine. And since then, people have been putting this and its little brother, the 4BT, in just about anything and everything that you can think of. And one of the most popular Cummins builds to come out of PowerNation has to be the Super Dually. She's a 1979 Ford crew cab that we hauled out of a junkyard and chassis swapped with a Cummins-powered 2nd-gen Ram.
Plus, we replaced the stock rear axle with a dually Dana 80 and grafted in some rear fenders to complete that classic look. For all of her good attributes, she was definitely purpose-built as a work truck and not a show pony. And we're not looking to get that extreme, but we do have big plans for this old Ram.
That's right, we are keeping this body and we are gonna keep the engine on this chassis, but we are definitely gonna take it up quite a few notches. We're gonna transform this Dodge W350 from a dream work truck into a working man's dream truck.
First, we'll give the engine a turbo boost along with bigger injectors and all new hardware to double down on torque and horsepower. It's also gonna get a fresh paint job and engine dress-up kit to match its new exterior.
On the underside, she's getting all new suspension, including a front coilover conversion and rear 4-link. We're also going to update all the axles and soup up the stopping power with a rear disc brake conversion. And what kind of overhaul would this be without some new shoes? So, we're throwing in a new set of custom wheels and tires to match its stance to the style.
Next, we scrap the stock look and hit it with a dark 2-tone black and gray metallic coat of war paint with a pencil-thin red pinstripe. As far as the bright and shiny stuff goes, we're adding a custom grille along with blacked out front and rear bumpers.
Then, we'll swap out those old trucker lights with some state-of-the-art LEDs. And for the interior, we've got custom seats, door panels, a new dash, and tricked-out digital gauges. We've christened this new diesel-powered dually dynamo as Project Night Shift.
With only 172,000 miles on the clock, a lot of you guys would say that this truck is just barely getting broke in, and in most cases you'd be right. But in our case, we just got it and we have no clue what its maintenance history looks like. Which is why we gave our buddies over at Hot Shot Secret a call and had them send us some products that are gonna give us the peace of mind to know that our engine and our fuel system are nice and clean. First thing we did was add some diesel extreme fuel treatment so we could make sure we weren't dealing with any injector issues or had deposits that could cause further wear and tear. We'll be using Hot Shot Secret diesel products to ensure this dually is running and riding as good as it looks.
Whether you're adding power to your diesel engine or just using it as a daily driver, it's not a bad idea to know exactly what's going on inside your crankcase. I've got some Hot Shot Stiction Eliminator that I'm going to dump down into the engine, and that should clean up any excessive carbon buildup as well as drown out any noises in the valve train. Stiction occurs when a sticky residue forms inside the combustion chamber from carbon buildup. Using Stiction Eliminator will help break down or prevent that from occurring, or, in our case, help diagnose a problem you may need to fix.
This thing is actually really nice. For being a dually, especially one that's this old, it rides real good.
Can't go wrong with first-gen Cummins.
I'm not even a Dodge guy, but this thing is just great.
How are your gauges looking? Everything seems to be circulating all right?
Yeah, I mean, oil pressure's good, temp is good.
It does seem to be running better overall since we put that hot shots in it.
But you can definitely tell that, you know, it's smoothed out. But with the fact that we did buy it used and we don't know for sure what the maintenance history looks like.
Yeah, for the amount of power we want to put into this thing, we got to make sure it's right.
I could do this all day, every day.
Well, unfortunately, we should probably get back to the shop and yank the motor so we can get the ball rolling.
All right, let's do this.
Cummins up.
Call me crazy, but I don't think Dodge ever intended anyone to ever have to pull one of these things.
We drag this diesel engine out of our Dodge Dually.
Looks good. Now that we have our game plan, it's time to get started on tearing this thing apart. And the first step is gonna be to pull this power plant because that is gonna be the biggest piece of this puzzle.
Yeah, and these old Cummins definitely have some weight to them. So after we're done unhooking everything up top, we're gonna lift the truck up and drop the transmission and the transfer case just to lighten that load up a little bit. I don't know what kind of a Yahoo puts a Ford battery in a Cummins. That man should be put in prison.
I don't know who puts a radiator drain in such a bad spot, but that guy needs to go right along with him.
Call me crazy, but I don't think Dodge ever intended anyone to ever have to pull one of these things.
Well, if you take care of them, you probably never have to.
Ha! You ever set down pliers or a ratchet and you just go, where did I put that? Been right in front of your face the whole time.
Only after searching around the shop for 10 minutes to try and find it. Now that we've got room for the bolts to come out, we might have to spin it over.
You ever wonder about the first dude who ever did a Cummins swap?
I'm willing to bet that there was quite a bit of liquid motivation behind that one.
You know what? That's where most good ideas come from.
Your liquid motivated ideas must be better than mine. And when you go to pull your front drive shaft out, the easy way to do it is to make sure you put your transfer case into 4 high or 4 low before you get under here to try and get it out. But if you forget, take that pry bar, just put it right inside the yoke and break right loose. Oh no, it's a little stuck. Fixed it. Yeah, get that out of here.
It's an endeavor, ain't it?
It really is. There's no easier way to do it. I think we've got...
Might have to pivot it.
We're hitting on this exhaust a little bit too.
She's caught in something. There we go.
Ah, she ain't caught on nothing no more.
See? That wasn't so bad.
Ah, not at all. Easy day.
She free?
Watch your head.
That's a yes.
We didn't need that anyways.
There we go.
Give her a shot right there. All right, there we go.
She's pretty much in a bind still.
Hitting anything?
Nope, good. Good. Send it.
All right, out she goes.
Good news is that was not a pain in the butt.
Right? All right, hit that lever, drop her down some. There you go. Now that we got ourselves cleaned up a little bit, get dirty all over again to actually get this thing out of here.
Right. Cool. Let me get out of here.
Oh, you don't want to ride it?
Don't tip me.
Yeah, I'll just put a ratchet strap around you and you'll be fine. Well, now for the fun part. Ooh, it should be good and loose, right?
So far, so good.
Definitely a good bit heftier than what we usually deal with.
A little crane's going, ugh, right now. Gotta spin her a little bit.
You got eyes on?
Yep. Yep. Just gonna have to wiggle her out a little bit.
Neil McCoy style. Hold on. Here. Let me see. There she goes. Whew, that sounded good. All right. How you looking?
All right, so far so good. Oh, hold on.
How you looking?
Still good.
Nothing attached?
Nope. I'm gonna get out of here. Don't stand underneath it. It's got about 1,000 pounds right there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess now gotta get this thing cleaned up and torn apart.
Right?
After we clean ourselves up
Yeah.
again.
That'll take a couple hours.
Coming up next, engine stand won't hold it. We'll show you how to make your own. With our Cummins diesel displaced from its home in this engine bay, it's time to get it set up on a stand so that we can clean it up and tear it down before we start throwing new parts at it. But unlike our last inline six that we dealt with in here, the sheer weight of this thing is a serious consideration.
That's right. This thing is in the neighborhood of 1,100 pounds. So it's going to present a serious safety concern if you even remotely try to put it on your standard old engine stand because you're already at capacity. So what are your options? Well, you could go out and get you one of these bad boys, an industrial strength engine stand specifically designed for diesel engines. This particular model is set up for a Duramax, but you can go out and get the adapter plate for a B-Series Cummins. But one thing to consider, between the adapter plate and the stand itself, well, you're knocking on the door of about 4,000 bucks. And for those of you at home who understandably may not want to shell out that kind of coin, there's always Plan C.
And in the case of this plan, C stands for custom. What I have in front of me here is actually a body cart that's meant to have the frame or the body of a truck put on top of it whenever you're doing any kind of work on stuff like that. And we're gonna be using our Forney cutting and welding equipment to fabricate our own type of adapter so that we can put an engine on here instead of a frame or a body. Now, the first step to doing that is gonna be to get everything lined up because all of these uprights and these two cross beams right here are completely adjustable. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get these four posts in line with each other and then take some square stock and cut some beams to go across here. Now, once we have a beam on both sides, we're gonna take our engine and rest it between the two. Then we're gonna put some uprights on those and use those to mount to the original motor mounts on the engine itself. A couple options to support the front and rear of this engine would be to either have these adjusted right to the edges of our engine block and put individual supports on either side and bolt those in, or we could actually tighten them up and do some V-shaped supports on this central beam that holds these two together and bolt those to either side of the block. But we're not gonna be making that decision until we get some cutting and welding done to get our main supports made. Now, I know what you're thinking. We already mentioned cost as being an issue with the diesel engine stand, but that's not really the case with this. Now, this cart, to buy one brand new, is actually under $1,000. But if you don't feel like spending that much money, you could just buy the tubing and build it yourself because it's a really simple design. So the first step to actually building our custom apparatus is gonna be to cut some of this wide tubing that is gonna serve as our cross members on the uprights. Now, I've already gone ahead and marked this at 40 inches because the engine block itself, with the accessory drive removed, is 32 inches from front to back. That means that our uprights are never gonna be further apart than that. So we're gonna cut this a little bit long to make sure we've got plenty of it and that we don't have to worry about it shifting front to back and falling off. That one does need to come out just a little bit on there. Looks pretty good. All right, with our main support's cut, it's time to roll this over to our engine and see how it fits in the middle. Now that we've got our main support beams onto our cart, we're gonna do some measuring and get some angles set up for the actual engine mounts. Now, the engine mounts in the truck sit at a perfect 45-degree angle, which makes this quite a bit easier. So with our angle locator setting on our support beam right here, we're just gonna use that to kind of judge where the engine mounts on the engine side have to sit before we weld our brackets on. We're gonna build one side and use that so that we can get the other side built and everything's gonna sit level and be accessible once it's set up on here. Once we've notched our beam, we'll tack and weld these together to make one solid piece. Then we'll go ahead and drill a hole so that we can bolt into our actual engine mount. Let's see what we got.
Today, we started a new build that's been a long time coming.
I don't think this guy knows what he's selling. I think we should lift it.
Lift it?
Not a lot. Add another inch or two. We kicked the tires and scraped off all the years of dirt and grime that comes to barn find to reveal that we had ourselves a dually diamond in the rough.
Then, we gutted the underside of this ride and yanked the engine and transmission out so we could prep it for a one-off custom paint job. About 1,000 pounds right there.
Oh, yeah. Down we go.
With our engine mounted up on this custom Cummins stand, we are just about ready to get it cleaned up, sprayed with some fresh paint, and start bolting on our power adders.
For sure, and we're pretty excited about this project and all of its potential. And when you step back and consider everything we still got to do to this thing, fun's just beginning. But for right now, we're just gonna keep on trucking.